like a house that's built on sand. They're going to be cracks, aren't they? Yeah. They're going to be cracks. Now, what's this solid foundation? Whatever you decide to do, whatever it is, you need to train for it. You've got to train for it. Now, there are several kinds of training. I mean, there's formal training and there's informal training. But do train. It's so important. If you train well for whatever it is, it gives you a jump start ahead of everybody else. Am I right?
Yes.
And so, I'm to make myself a case study. I'm not sure it's the best brand to use as a case study, but it's the brand that I know best. You know? So I'll use myself as a case study. I started out at a time when a lot of the elite wouldn't let their children go into entertainment. Once my parents realized that this was what I wanted to do, I was allowed to first of all work in the industry I wanted to go into. So I started out at a place called the University of Lagos Performing. It was like a cultural center. And so we used to perform at the Goethe Institute, perform, you know, we just used to perform all over the place. And then people would come and say, oh, I've seen you, I'd like you to come and work on television. And then I got to work a bit on television. From there, I got to work at the National Theatre, when it was, you know, it was still pretty new at the time. And, you know, and I also got to work in radio. Now, by the time I finished doing that, I mean, I did that for about a year. My parents then decided that it was time to go to England and study drama properly. And so I went to the Douglas Academy of Dramatic Arts in London, one of the big five, as it was then known. And so, now, I didn't know what my parents were doing for me at the time. But when you know, and I must say I found it extremely, extremely difficult. Drama school is something that we're not used to in this country. Acting, you know, a lot of the entertainment is really not done in the West. It's not done in universities. They are vocational schools. So even if you want to study fashion, there's the London School of Fashion, there's the American School of, you know, there are just so many vocational schools that you can go to. And so, and it's the same with drama. And going to drama school, I almost went absolutely berserk. It was tough, but I came out one of the top 5 in the school. But what that did, and I didn't realize it, was that it then set me apart from my peers. In the sense that one of the reasons why I get the jobs that I get is my voice. Yeah. It's the voice. Sometimes people don't recognize me, but once they hear my voice, it's like, oh, that's her. And this voice is a trained voice. I mean, in England, actors, radio presenters, you know, musicians and all that, you are known as voice professionals. And a major part of our training was voice. How to use the voice, how to manipulate the voice, how to make the voice do exactly what you want it to do at any point in time. You know? And that is the training. And what they say, actually, for a lot of actors, is that drama school prepares you, and then you need another 14 years working in the field to actually become an actor. And I came back at a time when there was hardly any work. I mean, one year it was so bad. I remember I hadn't done any work for the entire year, and then this job came. Cadbury's chocolate spread. I'm not sure many of you were born at the time. And I remember, because I hadn't done any work, it was just so exciting to get that job that even if they didn't pay me, I would do do it. Even if they didn't pay me, I was dying to do my job, which is the second thing. We must never go into anything simply because of the money. We should be able to go into what, if we are not doing it, we feel dead. You know? If you're not, I find that if I haven't worked in my, if I had been, you know, whether on stage or in front of the screen or in front of a microphone for a long time, I feel half dead. I'm married to a man that I love, I have 2 wonderful children, but I've got to do my job. And when I do my, you know, when I'm working in something I love, I'm very happy to wake up in the morning. So all that has got to do, you know, we're talking about the foundation. Let's recap the foundation, do something that you love, get training for it. Then, after that, be the best that you can be at the job that you have chosen. The best of you that you can be. Never be a copy of anybody else. Otherwise, you will always be a copy. We are all made by God to be originals. None of us are photocopies, not even twins, not even identical twins. Okay? Now, for me, I guess in business they call that brand differentiation or something like that. Yeah, okay. Or brand identification. Now, one of the things that I did was that coming back to this country, I noticed some things going on. My name, first of all, was John. I mean, we decided, my husband and myself, I wouldn't change that name. Brand identification. That's what I started working as, Joke Silver. So because I became Mrs. Jacobs, it didn't change. It was Joke Silver. And one of the reasons too was not only because of brand identification, it was also because I was so terrified. Growing up, I saw so many people, whether it was in entertainment, reading the news, they start out as Mrs. Something and then they break up and then they become, you know, they will go back to their lady and then marry somebody else. Excuse me, no, that's not going to happen to me. You know, and that's why I kept Joke Silver. And also, in entertainment, when you create a brand and you change it, it actually affects your work. I don't know how many of you know about Tina Turner and Ike. She wasn't actually, I mean, because she became Ike Turner, Mrs. Turner, you know. And then when they broke up, Ike wanted her to drop the name. And she went to court to keep the name. Okay? But because your brand identity. Your brand identity is also very important. Now, what were the other things that I tried to do? Looking at the environment that I was in, I knew one that I was in a profession that wasn't really highly respected here, highly respected in England, but not here. It was respected in the West, but not here. And so it meant that I had to be careful with the kind of work that I did. So when I started out, I couldn't kiss anybody on stage. I couldn't kiss anybody on screen, you know. Now, I mean, all the Genevieves and all of them, they're kissing everybody. I have a way of time. You know, but I couldn't do that. I actually found that I had to be careful with the roles that I did. It was very rare in the early days for me to do any role that was negative. The parts that I usually chose were sometimes a bit long-suffering, and I got really bored with that at one point. And then I started doing a lot of strong, very strong female roles until Amaka Igwe made me play the mother in Violated, and from then on I started playing these old women, and I haven't been able to get rid of them. That's been a bit of a challenge. Now, else is important for us when we're building our brand? I think it's very important to learn how to handle money. A lot of us don't realize and we all know how important money is. And unless we're fooling ourselves, we all like money. Yeah. I do. I love money. I really do. I like money because I know what money can do. But over the years, I have had to learn how to manage it. If you cannot manage money, your brand will suffer. You know? It would be awful. You get a lot of money today and then tomorrow you're back on the streets, you're broke. So we really have to learn how to manage money. For those of us who are Christians, we know that any money that passes through your hands, tithing is just so important. First and foremost, tithe. And then for your business, for your brand, there's another time. You put it in the bank and you leave it. You don't touch it unless your brand, unless your company is in trouble. Exactly the same amount you tithe is the same amount you save for your company. Alright? If you're not sure about that, click on Pastor Kuri. He has something, a whole tape on that, on, building wealth the Christian way. And then of course, then you have your savings, and then you have what you can live on for the month. But it will be so sad to make so much money, and then it all fritters away. And of course, there's several values that we all need, and I'm sure they've gone through it with you, but I just think it's important to mention them. We can't really do anything much without patience. Like I said, it took 14 years to become an actor after training. And 14 years after training, Nollywood wasn't born. Nollywood wasn't thought of. I've been in the industry for 30 years. Nollywood will be 20 this year. So, okay, in the 4th year of working. All right? But that came from patience. Even though it wasn't important, even though it wasn't something that was earning, that was recognized in the country when I started. Do you understand? Society caught up, didn't it? And now you have Nollywood, which is one of the biggest brands that has been produced, original Nigerian product that is so worldwide. A lot of, you go to diplomatic parties, and when they're talking, the diplomats found that they had to start watching Hollywood films, because the first thing they get asked is, do you bring any films? They're not asking you for any material, they're asking for Hollywood films. It's become one of our biggest brands, as a country. Yeah. Finally, what was my vision? Who was my idol? Who did I, in those early days when things were tough, who did I look at? And, just kept my gaze on as the kind of person I would like to be. I don't know how many of you know Judi Dench? Yes. Okay, she's now famous as James Bond. She's in her 70s. She started playing Madam M in James Bond. Judi Dench was my idol. I always wanted to be Judi Dench. I wanted to be an actress like Judi Dench. And the funny thing is, in the past, let's say 5 years, very odd. It's not something that I discuss. A lot of people call me the Nigerian Judi Dench. Why? What is Judi Dench known for? Judi Dench is known for excellence in her work. No matter what part Judi Dench plays, she nails it. I think I call them the big five. You have Meryl Streep, you have Helen Mirren, you have Judi Dench, you have Glenn Close. That's it. We're close, and there's one more. She's younger. That older, I mean, Kate Blanchett is in her 40s. That's it. Sorry? No, in fact, I went to that class, I think. These ones who know how to nail parts. They nail the movie to one.
He graduated Sound of Music. What's her name?
It's alright.
Hidden nerve.
So, basically, I've run through it. What I was going to discuss with you, what I've done, what my brand has done. Very quickly, okay. Just because of this voice, because of this training, because of working on this talent, I got to work with, the guy who played in the King, in the King's Speech, Colin Firth. Yeah, I worked with him in 1997. If you Google if you go to Google Secret Laughter of Women, you'll see it there with Colin Firth and Nia Long. And what else? Where well, that's it really. The talent, the insistence, let's put it that way, the insistence on excellence, on never letting your quality drop at any point in time, of always finally, yes, and that's so important, is we have to keep learning. That is so key. We have to keep learning. I'll tell you a story. As a